Hi there, it's Bill with Smart Trades. It's about 6:15 Pacific Time, September the 30th, and today the S&P hit our target square on, just a few ticks actually over the 1157 target. Um, to my way of thinking, that's probably it. That's probably a top. It's not absolute. Certainly, we could go back up and we could drop a little bit, test the bottom of the recent range, and then go back up there one more time. And I'll get to that in a moment. But there's a couple of different ways to count it that I think make sense. First, let's look at the Dow, and thanks to Max over at the Traders Lounge for this particular count of the Dow, showing it as a diagonal triangle that potentially peaked today with an impulse down and what looks like a corrective rally back up. And certainly, I think you can count it this way. Um, but again, I was looking at the S&P, and I think the S&P best counts actually as a contracting triangle fourth wave, with a very short fifth. And again, we have an impulse down and what looks to be a corrective rally back up, so far. Um, and our basic count here is that this is 5 waves up of C, of B, and we should be going down from here. That said, we have to give this a slight margin of error. We could go back up and retest 1157. It's certainly not out of the realm of possibility, and it still wouldn't really upset the apple cart too much. In particular, because I think that this whole count from the late August low is really a mess and open to all kinds of different interpretations, largely because the lows occur at different dates and different times, different prices depending on which index you're looking at, be it the S&P cash, the Dow, the Russell, the futures, you name it, they all bottomed at different times. And if you use a close-only chart, it produces yet a different pattern. So could we go back up? Could we make a slight moderate new high? Certainly possible, but we have a bearish divergence on the breadth. We have a potentially completed pattern. Off of the impulse down, we have what looks to be a corrective rally back up that so far has failed to make a new high. So as long as the high at 1157.16, I believe it is, holds, we'll be calling that a top for now. And next target, 950 or so. Now here's the bigger picture. Here's that trend line that connects the recent highs as well as the 2007 peak. And as you can see, we're within what I call the width of a pencil lead from hitting that trend line. Now, again, it's possible we could drop down and go back up, but you can see that we have hit right into that long-term target range, dead center, about as perfectly as you can get. A quick thought, some folks are calling this rally a wave 2. Here's the problem with that. They're calling it an ABC. You have 2 equal legs up. That's fine. Obviously, I'm calling this rally an ABC as well, with A equals C. Now, if you count it that way, here's the issue. Let's count off the April high the number of swings. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Well, 7 waves down is a corrective pattern. Any way you cut it, I think it's very difficult to count the July low as the bottom of a 5-wave impulse down. You can count this as a 5 down to A, but from there, very difficult to count the pattern from the high as an impulse to the July lows. From the April peak to the July lows, you've got to do backflips to count that as a 5-wave structure. And I'm sure there's people out there that are good at mental gymnastics and will tell you that indeed it's an impulse down, but it doesn't count well as an impulse. You've got overlaps, you've got the wrong number of waves, and it simply doesn't fit. I think far better is to count this as a corrective decline. We'll call it A down, and then an ABC back up for B, and then we've got C down. At any rate, as a practical matter, for now it doesn't matter. The next leg down should take us down at least to new lows below the bottom of the July lows, if indeed my count is correct, or if they count, even if you count this as an impulse, the outcome, at least in the short to intermediate term, is the same. So let's look at the short side here over the next few days. Now here's the that alternate that I mentioned. We could still come down in a C wave, complete a larger flat, which I have mentioned in previous reports, and go back up and tag this trend line even more precisely, and make a moderate new high above 1157. Keep in mind, a small fraction of a percent exceeding of the 1157 target really doesn't amount to much in the grand scheme of things. And as far as the short-term count, since it is such a mess, I certainly would leave that open as a possibility. But short-term and intermediate term, I'm bearish from here, as long as we don't go flying through 1160 or so, and breadth and volume don't increase. Right now, the volume and breadth ratios, as well as various other bellwethers that I look at, all are confirming this as at least a short-term top, and again, possibly an intermediate term top. The next leg down would target under 1,000 on the S&P, under 10,000 on the Dow, perhaps about 950 ideally on the S&P cash would be our next target. Anyway, one step at a time as always. If we make new highs, start flying through 1160, all bets are off. On the other hand, a moderate new high that failed in that 1157, 1160, 1161 area, certainly would still indicate the possibility that indeed we've got a C wave down developing here. And C waves tend to be fast and furious. They oftentimes, C waves down oftentimes occur into October, so let's be alert for that. Anyway, hope you're having a great day. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.